When the holidays start to feel a bit repetitive, reach for a Sprite Winter Spiced Cranberry and put your twist on tradition. A bold cranberry and winter spice flavor fusion, Sprite Winter Spiced Cranberry is a refreshing way to shake things up this sipping season. And only for a limited time. Sprite, obey your thirst.
Hi there, and welcome to Raising Me. I'm Adrienne Stein. Thanks so much for joining us today. I want to start off today just jumping right into it because I had sort of an eye-opening moment. I was at an activity for my youngest. It was Cub Scouts, actually. And the group leader went around the room asking everyone to say their name and something they like to do. And I got to tell you, when it got to me, I kind of froze. I talked about being a mom, and I talked about Jack. And that was kind of it, right? Like, it didn't even occur to me to say that what I actually like to do myself, like running or reading or pickleball or traveling or gardening. I mean, there's tons of stuff, right? Somewhere along the way, my identity, and honestly, really a lot of my friendships are just all built around the kids. And that is wonderful. There are so many great things about that. We meet people at sports and school pickups and activities, and we bond over parenting and all the unknowns that we're navigating. But what happens when the kids grow up and those built-in friendships start to fade? What do we do when they turn 18 and move out, which is actually right around the corner for me with our oldest? Or they just simply don't need us standing on the sidelines anymore. Today's conversation, we are talking about adult friendships, why they matter so much, and why sometimes they feel harder to build and maintain. We're also going to talk about how we can take some small and frankly, there's sometimes brave steps to create relationships that really support us. Joanne Grant is back with us. She is the Chief Growth Officer at Sweetser Behavioral Health. She is, such an amazing resource. She has spent decades helping people navigate mental and behavioral health challenges. We are also just so grateful to Sweetser's support of Raising Me. So Joanne's going to talk to us about some friend apps, which I had no idea that was a thing, navigating rejection fears, which can come with putting yourself out there, figuring out our own interests outside of parenting, and why both moms and dads really do benefit from strong friendships, even if it can be a little bit harder for men sometimes. We're going to also explore how to balance friendships with family and partners and work and, all the things that we're juggling. So if you've ever wondered how to make friends as an adult or how to reconnect with who you are outside of your kids, this one's for you. Check it out. All right, Joanne, I am so glad you're back. And this is a topic I've actually really wanted to do for a long time. Did it come up when we were having another conversation?
I think we were. We were talking about all the things we could discuss here. Yeah. And some of them we're going through ourselves, so it was even more meaningful. And this did come up. Yeah.
So we're talking about adult friendship. So let's talk about where we are sort of with that. And I think you come with a really interesting perspective because you've been through all the phases.
I know.
Your kids are grown. Yeah. So sort of talk, personally and professionally, how you've sort of evolved with the friendships.
Yes, I feel like it's been in chapters, right?
Yeah.
So, first, we are our child's activity coordinator. We're making really sure for our children they're making friends in a safe environment. They're learning the skills that they need to navigate that. So that's one piece of it. Then you, have your own friends when you're in college and high school. Sometimes they tend to fade. When you have your own children, like I just mentioned, you tend to gravitate towards the parents of their friends, and maybe that's through sports or activities, and those friendships can get really close. That happened for me through sports. There was lots of weekends spent away, AAU basketball, hotels, and really formed a lovely bond. However, when your children are grown and flown, and it's no one's fault, right? People get busy, they have other priorities. Those kind of faded. And I see those people every now and then. I miss them, but it put me in a position to say, I've got to make some new friends. I also moved from that community.
Compounding it. But, you talk about like the friendships that we make when our kids are young. you have this like sort of built-in perspective that you're sharing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's kind of going through the same things at the
Mm-hmm.
same times.
You're
Often
right.
we're going through things that we have not been through before. So you're relying on,
Yeah.
hey, did your child do this? Hey, when did they start
Yes.
walking? Hey, are you going to play
Yes.
soccer this season? Hey, those kinds of, you have so many commonalities.
Yes, and that's where you get your guidance from. You
Yes.
talk to someone else, you hear their story, really helps validate you or make you
Mhm.
go, "Ooh, gosh, I might be doing this wrong."
Yeah.
It's a great form of friendship and bonding for sure.
But it then does evolve as you get older. And, as we were talking a little bit about even before having this conversation. So I have 3 kids and they're so vastly different in age. Our oldest is
Mhm.
just turned 18, then we have 13 and we have 7. So about 10 years, almost 11 between the oldest and youngest. With our oldest, I know that I really was so intentional about finding other parents and really
Mhm.
bonding and chatting with
Mhm.
everybody so that you could find friends for your child and create these play dates and all these experiences. And as it has moved down the line, I don't have as many friends with very friendly, on the sports and
Sure.
doing all the things, but not necessarily some kind of friendships I had when our oldest was
Yes.
going through the same
I
phases.
experienced that same thing,
Mhm.
very much involved in that first child, and then it kind of petered out. Sometimes it was easier though because there were siblings involved, so you
Yeah,
saw these
right.
people
Totally.
throughout. But I have to say, when those friendships change, because they, 18 years,
Mm.
that can be really devastating and a loss. And I just had to say that out loud so that
Yeah.
people can honor the stages that we go through when we are making and losing friendships. It can be really
And
hard.
you say 18 because it's also happening at the time that your child is moving on, whether it's to college or a job
Yes.
or just out of school. So you're having all these life
Yes.
transitions
Yeah.
on top of where do I sort of fit in with a social
Yeah.
circle
And what am I
now?
going to do now,
Yeah.
right? Like you think they're going to go off and we're all still going to hang out and
Yeah.
have our barbecues and play cornhole, and then it just kind of fades. And
Yeah.
and for people who really do enjoy that as part of their life, you've got to go back to basics and maybe even try things that you never had to try before, like apps. I was reading about
Oh,
apps.
for like friend apps?
Yes,
Okay.
making friend apps. It's
Huh.
a thing. So this must be a thing that we're
Really?
talking
Okay.
about. Yeah.
All right. So why, just let's start with, why are adult friendships so important, regardless of where you are
Mm,
in your parenting journey? And maybe
mhm,
they're important for different reasons when you
mhm,
have young, like babies,
mhm.
toddlers versus elementary, middle versus high school. And, then when the kids are gone. But
Mm.
why are those adult friendships so important?
Well, I think you nicely highlighted that using that person as a way to get advice or
Yeah.
recommendations, validation of if you're parenting correctly, and the hobbies and the interests that you can do together. I think as you get older, the friendships are really, we're growing and changing. Our values change, our
Hmm.
our perspectives change. So we can learn a lot through adult friendships. There's that sense of belonging and support, but the biggest piece is friends help you feel less stressed. So
Hmm.
that's going to help you with other physical health pieces like your blood pressure. I'm assuming when you're an adult and you're hanging out with a friend, you might be doing something active. So that's a really great thing.
Hmm.
So as we get older, it really helps us have a better sense of well-being, I
Mm.
think, and feeling healthy. I've also seen a lot of people who have younger friends, maybe a 5 to 10 year difference, and they feel younger and do more active things or maybe learn something that they might
Yeah.
not have learned through that younger generation. So that's really helpful as well.
Do you think it's harder to make friends today than it was? Why? You're shaking your head.
I'm
Or you're
shaking my head
nodding
because I'm
your
like
head, nodding your
thinking
head.
of the
Yeah.
things that I have had
Yeah.
to do to
Yeah.
try to make new friends.
Okay. So
And
like what?
so, first of all, having to have small conversations with
Yeah,
people
small
to,
talk.
yes, to see if I like you, right?
Yeah.
And I'm going to take a friend as a
Yeah.
friend, but how do
Yeah.
I like your
Yeah.
vibe? Do we have
Yeah.
common interests, right? Having to go to different things by yourself or
Mm.
with somebody else that you might not know. There's lots of opportunities with bingo and trivia nights, going to a dog park and talking to someone else who might
Yeah.
have a dog. You have to take some risks, and some people people are
It
really
is putting
afraid to do that.
yourself out there,
Absolutely.
especially if you're like more of an introvert. Like
Exactly.
it really is putting yourself, because you don't have that commonality of, oh, your kid's so cute. Oh, and
Exactly.
then you're just, oh, how old is he or she? Oh, and
Yeah.
then those are easy conversation starters. It is much harder when you don't have that easy sort of into a conversation.
I'm so glad you mentioned that, because when I'm saying these things, they were not hard for me. I'm kind of just a chatty Cathy, and we'll go and talk to anyone and open to lots of activities. But it is hard for people who aren't, and they don't want to take the initiative, or there's fear of rejection. So they might sit around and wait for something to kind of transpire. It may or it may not. I think that's where those apps might come in handy.
So let's talk about social media and the apps and the different kinds of things. I mean, social media, I think, can keep us together, but I also think it keeps us farther apart too. And one thing that I've thought about often is I used to make an effort to call friends that maybe we were just like buddies at work or something like that, but just to hear their voice and kind of catch up. Once social media really started, I was already kind of connected, and the small talk stuff we would, hey, where'd you go on vacation? Oh, you tried a new restaurant? What books are you reading? I kind of already knew
it already.
I kind of already saw it. So I realized I was making those like check-in calls much less often. Once I was really on social media.
No, you're right. You're right.
But there is something to be said for hearing somebody's voice if you haven't talked to them in, however many years or months or whatever it is.
The who's down in Who Newville were making their list, but some didn't know Walmart has the best brands for their gifts.
What about toys? Do they have brands kids have been wanting all year?
Yep, Barbie, Tony's, and Lego. Gifts that will make them all cheer.
Do you mean they have all the brands I adore?
They have Nintendo, Nespresso, Apple, and more.
What about...
So the Who answered questions from friends till they were blue. Each one listened and shouted, from Walmart? Who knew? Shop gifts from top brands for everyone on your list in the Walmart app.
I think you have to extend it, like those questions you would have normally asked someone when it wasn't transparent on social media. You've got to go one level down. How was your trip to Hawaii? What was your favorite thing that you did?
Right.
I saw you went scuba diving. Were you scared? We have to kind of dig because we do already know. So that small talk doesn't turn to small talk. It's a little bit deeper, I think.
Right.
Yeah. And some people don't even like to talk on the phone anymore. Did you know that?
Oh,
That's a thing.
I know. And the kids especially, because they've never really had to, right? I mean, don't you remember in the kitchen, you have to pick up the phone and hit the numbers, and you call Susie Q down the street.
I remember phone numbers from back then.
Oh, I actually could probably pull up some phone numbers.
I remember my best friend's phone number.
I
don't
remember
know my own. No.
I remember my own, 3451966 actually, but I don't. Yeah, the area code. I'd have to kind of think about that. But anyway, we digress. But so like, where are some of the places? What are some of the things that we can do to make these friendships, with or without our kids? Because even I think if you have young kids, it's still important to have friends that maybe aren't, talking about preschools or, this soccer game or that, like having your own interests and activities beyond the kids, which is so hard.
It is, because your life is revolving around those activities. So it's really hard. I think time constraint is such a big thing to look at here. Your life is revolving around sports, school, work, getting things together for the next day to do it all over again. It's hard to say, I'm going to go find something that's just me. But it's a great place to start. And then that way you will have that when the time comes. You do have time. You don't have this circle of friends. So beyond that, I think picking activities, thinking of activities you either A, already enjoy, or B, haven't tried. Pickleball's a thing. I can't believe we've talked about this before.
I'm all over it.
I said, I'm going to learn how to play pickleball. And I did. And I started to join groups and make friends that way. And then after that, you might find someone in the group that you're like them, or you want to learn more about them, and you can go out for coffee, you can go to a farmer's market, you can go to dinner.
Pickleball is great, activity is great, but I think it's just also important to note it's okay to sort of be nervous about putting yourself out there in those kinds of activities too, even though it could be really good for you.
Absolutely. Those feelings don't go away as an adult, that you're nervous, you're anxious. What if people don't like me? What if I stink at pickleball?
Right, especially when you're doing a sport or an activity.
What if I fall
like
on my face? So at the same time, you're judging yourself about your talent in that area, and how other people are seeing you, that does not change. Actually, I think it might even intensify because we've been out of it for so long, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know.
So you said classes are great. Taking up a new sport is great. Are there areas like, places you can go and just start striking? How do you practice striking up a conversation with somebody? You know what I mean? Because that's a learned skill.
It's something my kids used to make fun of me about when they were smaller, but I think they see it as a skill now where you just pick up conversation with some, you're at Starbucks, you're getting coffee. How are you today?
Yeah.
What's your day like?
Love that jacket.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if those small conversations might turn into something bigger and you can see something that says, oh, I might like to hang out with that person, you would build up some bravery or some courage and potentially go back and say, want to get coffee sometime? Want to go for a walk? I think it's that willingness to start small, to initiate. Some people don't like that.
That can be really scary.
Yeah, but if you wait for someone to come to you, you might wait for a long time.
Do you think it's, what about like, is there a difference of the benefits for men and women when it comes to friendship, or different ways? Like, we're talking a lot of ways. I'm like, oh yeah, that sounds fun. That sounds fun. But I'm thinking like, my husband also could use friends too. It's a hard thing. And I'm like, he would never talk to somebody just randomly in the Starbucks line.
Nope. And I didn't dive into this, but I was talking to my male coworker that I was doing this podcast, and he sat down and he said, there's a huge difference between men's ability to make friends and women's. All my friends are my wife's, people that my wife have connected me to. It's really hard. And I didn't have time to kind of dig into that to see, well, what are the differences? But I do think it goes back to, they're not going to do some of those things that we take risks to do.
But it's equally important for the dads, the parents, the men in our lives to be making an effort to have friendships as well. Same health benefits, I would imagine.
100%, if not more so. And I think they feel the same way, but they think it's even further out of reach for them than it is for their counterpart.
So say you have some adult, like I shouldn't say actual friends, but you have like some friends outside of your mom group, which are also friends. How do you balance that time with friends and the being with the kids and being with your partner? And
I mean, I think you would be a very, very wealthy woman if you could come up with the answer to that. But no, I think that what you're saying is having that time with those friends that don't involve the sports and the kids and doing something that you enjoy. You have to make the time. So unfortunately, we've got the mom guilt, we've got all of these priorities and things, and we often feel like we are overwhelmed. But what we don't realize is if we take that time and go with the moms to a movie, let's go see Wicked. I'd say that because let's go see Wicked together. You're going to feel less stressed and less overwhelmed after you do it.
After you've actually, it might feel stressful to actually get to the point where you're doing that, or like, making sure, well, did I get dinner ready? Don't forget they have to be in whatever, like that sort of micromanaging that many of us are guilty of. Yeah. But then when we finally get to that movie or that dinner, it's almost cleansing.
You needed it. You're like, I needed this, and it kind of all just goes away. We don't give ourselves permission to do that very often.
Well, it's all about the kids. And it's funny because I had sort of an eye-opening moment, and this is like becoming very timely for me because my oldest is going off to college, but we still have two younger boys. But somebody asked, and it was a group for Jack, our youngest, said, well, for the child to introduce themselves and what they like to do, and then for the mom or the dad, the parent who was with the child, to say what their name is and what they like to do. And I really I froze. I was like, well, Jack has two older siblings. And I made it again all about Jack. And it was like, I reflected on that. I was like, boy, I need to get out more. Like that was my answer, was all about being
kids. A mom and being it's interesting. That actually is a brilliant activity, I think, for adults to connect.
To do. And it lingered with me. I was like, that was the best answer I could come up with, was about
you want to redo.
But I like pickleball and I like reading and I like gardening and I like running and all these things. But
running is a great way to meet new friends and obviously double needing friends
Except
and getting
the
support.
knees, Joanne, don't really hold
I
up
don't
like
know
they
about that. I
used
don't hurt my
to.
knees in pickleball, but I
Yeah.
hurt other things.
Yeah.
No, it's hard. It's so hard. People don't think that as an adult it is difficult to make new friends, but I find it more
is.
difficult than it was when I was younger.
Totally. And what kinds of barriers do you think come up to maintaining those adult friendships?
I think we've said this multiple times. Time constraints, or at least the perception of time constraints. I also think fear of rejection. We talked about that with pickleball. Maybe I'm not going to be good at it. Maybe someone's not going to like me. I'm not an extroverted. I don't love making that first move. What's going to happen? We can talk ourselves out of a lot of things using our negative self-talk. And I also think that there are already existing friend groups, and people, it goes both ways. You don't feel like you're going to fit into this group that has established this rapport and these traditions, and sometimes that group isn't as welcoming. I insert myself. I saw something. I'm like, hey, can I come with you? Can I come with you? And
they've
try
already
that
got their
out?
vibe
Yeah,
going, and so like
yeah.
adding a fifth or
Yes.
whoever really kind of people are
Yeah.
hesitant about changing that dynamic.
And the person joining feels a little
like
an
well, 'cause
outsider.
you don't have the history, like so especially
Yeah.
if you've moved to a new town or new
Yeah.
city or new state or whatever. And that kind of leans into sort of my next thought too, is how can you tell when a friendship is sort of emotionally draining, or it's all coming from your side, like it's not a two-way street, maybe it's even slightly toxic?
Well, you're going to feel it
Yeah.
in every part of your being, right? I'm sure you've experienced it, but we talked at the beginning of this is supposed to be helpful to your well-being, your emotional health, your physical health. And if those things are being compromised because of these interactions in this friendship, there's something that's not going well here. And you do need to step back and figure out what it is. Is it that you're giving more than you're getting? Is it that there is toxic, toxic boundaries, toxic exchanges, drama.
Yeah.
Drama is a
It doesn't
sucker
go
of my.
away.
It doesn't.
What the heck?
And I think as adults, we have less tolerance for it, right?
Oh, totally.
I don't have time for drama, so
No.
that can right away be
red flag.
Yeah, and I think it is important to give that person at least a chance and say, you know what, we talk a lot about Adrienne's, neighborhood problems or the issue with her, this with that, and I don't do well with that. I prefer to focus on more positive things, talk about our children and things that really make us feel good about ourselves. Can we do that? And if that person, after you ask and give them the shot to release the drama and toxic tendencies, doesn't, you gotta just, I'm busy, I'm sorry.
That's how do you remove yourself? I mean, I don't know that you need a big explanation at our age here, right?
No, it's a hard thing to do. So yeah, it's just removing yourself from the situations, I think can work.
Yeah.
So
if there was one piece of advice, like one takeaway for a parent, a caregiver listening to this today, and it's like, what's one simple thing that they can do to help themselves find these important friendships in their lives?
I think I'm going to say two things. First of all, for the support person that is helping, whether it's a husband or a caregiver or a child, be supportive and understand the importance of that person needing to reconnect or connect with another human being, especially in this world of increased depression, increased anxiety, increased substance use disorder. And then for yourself, you deserve it. You deserve that time, and do something you haven't done. If you don't take initiative, just do it this once. I think something positive will come out of it. And if it doesn't,
well, it could be a small step too.
Yes. You tried it. Every time you do it, you'll feel much better. And again, I said this before, if all else fails, and this is true in the dating world, right? Like you have people who say, how do I meet romantic partners at age 50? And people have to go to an app and they're like, oh, an app. They work. Try out the friendship app. They screen people. They set things up for you. They show you, the characteristics and qualities of people you gravitate to. You can see who they are, what their hobbies are. you can chat a little bit and then decide to go meet for coffee. And
That's
then
cool.
no strings attached.
Yeah.
Try it out.
It's like dating
For
friends.
I think there is something called Tinder BFF or whatever it is. I swear there is. I think there is.
Well, clearly it's because it's a topic, it's an issue that resonates with a lot of people
I agree.
today, no
I
matter
agree.
where you are in your parenting journey.
I agree. No, it was a great topic.
Joanne, thanks so much.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate it. Of course, I'll mention too, we will have more resources on this very topic on WGME.com/raisingme. Thanks, Joanne.
Thank you.
A big thank you to Joanne, as always. And there were really a few things that stood out to me. One, look, it's normal for friendships to shift as our kids grow, but we don't have to wait until our kids are gone to start building our own connections and our own interests. Another one, making friends as an adult can really be uncomfortable and even require some risk taking, right? Like that hello to a stranger, some practicing that small talk, or even going to an event alone, which makes my anxiety rise just even thinking about it sometimes. But those small steps really can add up. And friendships should make us feel good. If a relationship is constantly draining you, it is okay to step back. And then this one really got to me. It's so simple, but it is so true. Support that partner, the mom, the dad, whoever it is, who needs a little time to nurture their friendships. And if you are the parent, you are a parent right now listening to this, you deserve that. You deserve this. Try just one small thing for you. Take a class. Maybe it's a new sport. Try one of those friend-finding apps. Who knew that was a thing? Even just one small step can lead to something really, really positive. Thank you so much for listening to Raising Me. I'm Adrienne Stein, and this episode was edited by Megan Littlefield, with production assistance from Carissa Paulson. Thank you also to our sponsor of Sweetser Behavioral Health. Please follow Raising Me wherever you get your podcasts and consider a positive rating and review as well, which helps others to find this message wherever you are. I hope you learned something new and get to take a little time for you.